Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome back to my podcast. I've been away for quite a while because I've been lazy, I know, and because I've been dealing with other problems myself related to my mental health. I had last year 3 episodes that it didn't went well with me. Even my doctor he increased my medication last year. But despite that, I've been handling pretty well my mental health despite all the episode I had before. So here is the topic of this podcast. It's all 100% about my personal life. I promise not to tell names or address of the other person involved in my experience. So the main subject is about mental health, my mental health, and passive aggressive behavior and silence in LGBT couple or general couple, no matter what's the sexual orientation or gender. It's about people relationships. Here is the story. About since July, right before the end of July, I met this guy online on one of the dating apps I use. And that dating app has a section where you can actually do live videos and you can interact with other members of the gay community, especially this sector that is about hairy guys and stocky and admirers who are, it's kind of it's a community, one section of the community. And I met this guy. Oh, first of all, my name is Luis Rondon Paz, as you can see in my profile here in this app and also in my podcast. I'm from Cuba originally, and I'm living in Montreal, Canada. It's going to be 4 years next May. I used to be a journalist and human rights activist, and right now I'm a protected person under the federal law of Canada. Because of my activities back in Cuba, I had to leave. Alright, anyways, going back to the main subject. I met that guy online and I saw him and I say, wow. Despite that sexually we were not a match, I said this to him in a message. I promise you, if you give me a chance, the sexual match, the sexual how we or not match, I promise you we will be a really good match because you are really something for me. And there were a few things that I liked from him, which is he's Cuban as me. He has the type of body that I love, one of the types of body I love. And his eyes, those eyes, there was like a it might sound funny, it might sound ridiculous because I'm about to be 40 years old, and for being living so much, for having so many experiences in my life, I still like fall for that. But yeah, I'm guilty for that. And after that message, we start exchanging, we start to getting to know each other virtually. We start doing video calls, we started to talk almost every day. Crazy, right? And we were about to meet, and actually he also get to know all my story about my backgrounds, who I was from, where I came from. Also, I get to know about him, from what part of Cuba he came from, and how he was living in the United States and his job and the type of job he do. And it was pretty encouraging how our relationship was going through, the way we were going. He knew about my actual situation because I'm waiting for my permanent residency. I was back then, and I was dealing with a lot of problems because of my mental health, because of the situation with the pandemic, and among other things that are not coming to the subject. And he was there for me, not here physically, but virtually. He was there, and I was for him. We were, how can I say, we were a match without actually being able to meet face to face. How is that even possible in 2022? And I was wondering that, and he was telling me that too, that he told me that once was in July, September, October, as the time our relationship was getting stronger. He said that he wanted to come here to Montreal to meet me, but not necessarily to have sex with me, but to get to know me more and to be with me, because he had a special connection with me. And I believe that, because I started to feel the same for him. Although we were not exclusive, I think he was having sex with somebody else there. I didn't care, because we were starting to get to know each other. And me too. He was aware. I told him that I had trust issues because of my past, and because how many times people have deceived me, how mistreated me. And I gave him the chance. I gave myself a chance to start building something with him, virtually, in a distance. So December arrived. We were building a project, building plans to meet finally here in Montreal. I helped him to get in hotel, to bring here. I even offered him to stay at my place if something went wrong. And with pleasure, I was dying to have him in my arms and to be cuddling with him and talking the entire night about nonsense, just to feel the company, to have somebody that I thought I was feeling that special connection, that I thought I was being special, because he was starting to become special for me in December, despite not being actually get together physically. Then COVID came back, the Omicron variant. So all the borders, everything was shut down again, and he was not allowed to come to Canada. So the plan to coming over was frustrated. He was supposed to come from December 29 and then go back to United States on January the 2nd. So we were supposed to stay a few days together and getting to know each other more. That was the main idea, and I was really excited. I was really, really excited, but COVID didn't make it happen. So we were continue video calling, talking each other. I was helping him with some tech stuff that he was having, and advising him about technology things that he was having problems with, because I have skills in IT, and I had experience in that. And then he was telling me about his ex. He told me about all the story about his ex and all that, and about his health condition. He is actually he told me that he is pre-diabetic, so I'm a bit overprotected. So I was all the way over him, telling him, pretty much all the time. Not all the time, only the time we were talking about, did you check your sugar level? How is it? What are you eating? Please be careful. My mom, she's diabetic, and I know how bad that is. And please be careful. He's overweight, which is not good for a person who is pre-diabetic. And also he lives with a special, well, not a special condition. He has he lives with a virus. He's HIV positive, and he needs to be more careful. Despite that he's indetectable, if he don't take care of himself, he can get complicated, and that worries me because I didn't want him to get hurt, to get into health issues, because I wanted him healthy. I wanted him to be in good state of health. So then one day he told me about this friend, well, not his friend, about his ex-partner that was coming over to stay for a few days with him. So I said, yeah, sure. But we talk about where he was going to be staying and all that. And to be honest, I was okay with that, because at the end, yeah, they know each other for about 6 years, but they were no longer together. That I think back then. And then my virtual boyfriend, I could say about him, one day he got sick, really sick. I thought he had COVID, so I was all the time, not all the time, how to say that, I was checking on him in the morning when he goes to work. We were checking each other in the middle of the day, and we were checking up in the afternoon when he left his job. Or sometimes he called me, he texted me, I texted him back, and we start a video call together or leave voice messages. He was having a really bad diarrhea for 1 week, and at the same time I had COVID as well. That was at the beginning of the year. I think I had the Omicron variant, although I'm still having side effects of that virus. And how to explain that? How to narrate that? It worries me. It worries me how he was dealing with his health condition, and because I started to feel things for him in a really good way. So he recovered, and I think he recovered. How to say that? He was recovering from that. However, he was still having diarrhea. I recovered pretty quickly from the symptoms of COVID, but I was still having the side effects. Then one day, as we were keeping on and go phone calls and video calls, the day that his ex-partner arrived to his place, I didn't get any news from him. I was surprised, because I was really worried about how his health was deteriorating. That I was having that thoughts. So I left him video messages, not video, I left him audio messages. I texted him. on WhatsApp and I didn't get an answer. And for some reason, I noticed that he was not receiving my messages. So on WhatsApp, when you send a message and the message stays green, means that that person received the message, but it didn't read the message, or it didn't open the box where your message is. So not fun. Not fun at all. So that started to give me a little bit of anxiety. That started giving me anxiety, a lot of anxiety, because I've had headaches. Really, for me, when you are having something with a person, something special, and that person, like out of the blue, disappeared, because that was what I perceive. That was what I felt from his end, from his phone number, and that gave me that really got my nerves. Like, it gave me anxiety about what's going on. Is he okay? Is it something happening with his health? Did he get complications? Did he had finally COVID, because he was testing him and he got negative twice, but he was still having these symptoms like a diarrhea, and he was from time to time coughing. So I was like, okay, is he at the hospital, because he's older, much older than me? So I was like really worried about him. And the next day passed, the third day passed, no news from him. And then I started looking for what's going on. I personally don't have Facebook, because in my past I was bullied, and I just got fed up from all the toxic environment that I in there. And people are really mean in those social medias. So I quit Facebook. But I have a few ghost Facebook accounts that I used for selling stuff online and buying stuff online. So I don't put anything that is from my private life anymore on Facebook. And I looked for him. And I found him. I didn't want it to realize what I was seeing. The day I was looking for him, he posted something on his page on Facebook. The next day, he posted another thing on Facebook of him walking happy on the snow somewhere in the town where he lives. And the first thing that came to my mind was, this is not him. This is somebody else that is using his identity, pretending that everything is fine with him, and he's perfectly fine. That was the first reaction that crossed my mind, because I was thinking back then that I was in denial, that I didn't want to realize that what was going on, indeed. And then I continue reading what was going on. I tried to call him a few times over the phone, and he didn't answer my video calls. He didn't answer my phone. I texted him on iMessages, and he didn't answer. He didn't respond. He didn't call me back. He just completely silence. Nothing. It was like a huge torture, a huge psychological torture for me. Every day I get it more desperate, more anxious, more like frustrated. That is, I don't like to use this word, but that it's the way I was feeling back then. I was not able to understand why he was not answering me, why out of the blue he vanished from my life, from my contacts, from everything. And then I went back to 3 days after, I went back to his Facebook, and he continued to posting like everything was normal with his life, until I realized that, Luis, you have just been ghosted. You've been ghosted. That person just out of the blue, for that person, you are nothing. You don't exist. Everything that you were building with him means nothing. He just hang off his phone, delete your contact, block you from his phone number and his WhatsApp, and continue with his life. That was the thing that after almost 2 weeks of self-torture, I actually accept that I was being ghosted. All that time of silence, all that accumulation created me a reaction that it went all out of my hands. It happens one night. I was here in my apartment. Thankfully, I was not alone. When I realized, I had in my head 2 scenarios, and the 2 scenarios, they were really, really bad, really bad. And the third scenario is that he was dead, but definitely he was not dead, because he was posting a lot of things on his Facebook page. When I realized that I was literally deleted, that all the months that we were like virtually dating, meaning nothing, because it was virtual, it's something for fun. Once I got bored, I just trashed it and find a new toy. All that things were happening in my head. And plus the other thing that happens to my mind was that as his ex came back and stayed with him, they came back together. So he had sex with his ex-partner. They are back together, and Luis, bye. You are no longer important in my life. Like the saying, better a bad person that I know than an unknown person to see. Plus that sexually speaking, we were not a match. That was in my head. And then say, oh well, I was wiped and replaced by his ex. That was one scenario. And the other scenario was that I was being ghosted, which is the same and even more toxic. And the thing that reached the limit of my patience, the limit of my anxiety, and that drives me to a huge nervous collapse, was to admit that everything I have invest in feelings and energy on hoping that he and we were going to have actually a future together in a few years from now, that was all sent to trash by him, but by his attitude. And the incoherency of what he meant to me before, that he said that he is a straightforward person, that he is honest, he always say the truth on your face, no matter where are you. He says, Luis, this is what's happening. This is not going to work. I don't want to build more hopes with you, so please, I need you to move on. Let's keep in contact, but I don't think this is going to work. No, I didn't get nothing of that. Not a message, nothing. I was ghosted. He was like a ghost, he vanished. He vanished from my life. When I realized of all that, I was right here sitting in front of my computer, like browsing on the internet and realizing of all that. I got in my body this reaction that it just went all out of control. I started feeling this cold, extreme cold. My entire body was cold. I started shaking. My hands were shaking. My teeth were like doing this sound that when you are in extreme cold. I wasn't able to articulate a phrase. I wasn't able. That so much cold I was having. Thankfully, my roommate was next to in the main room watching TV. I stand up. I went to a corner. I weren't able to go to my room. So the only thing I was able to do, I just went to closest to my room. I called him and I said, "Help me." I said to him, "Please help me. Help me." That was the only word I was able to say. And he saw me that I was actually shaking. And in my apartment there is a nice calefaction, so the temperature was great, but I was like freezing. And then he stand up, he came to me, he approached me, he hugged me, and I told him, I think I'm having a nervous collapse. I'm having a panic attack, I think. And then he held me. He noticed how cold I was. He rubbed my back and he held me. I held him tight. And he was like rubbing my back, and for 10-15 minutes, well, about 5 minutes, and then I started crying. I started cry like a baby. For about 10 minutes, I was non-stop crying and freezing and shaking, and wow, like that feeling. I have had panic attacks before due to my mental health, because I have PTSD from my past. But this episode I had never been so aggressive, even though I'm on medication for that. The thing that I notice is that how fragile my mental health was back then. How badly the silence from that person that I thought it was important to me affect my personal balance and my mental health. Literally, I was in shock. After that, after about 15-20 minutes that I was with my roommate, that he was holding me, I started to do like a deep respiration, trying to take air, because I was feeling like I was dying, if that's the correct word. And I had that feeling before, but not as that intense as I had with that event in my life. Then I After 5 minutes of doing deep respiration, like inhaling and inhaling, like for a few minutes, then I started to feel a little bit like my body temperature was coming back, because I was really, 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 really bad. Really, I wasn't able to do nothing. I was nothing in that moment that my mental health, my balance collapsed completely because of the fact that I was actually realizing of how badly I was being how to call that, how I was being erased from the other person's existence. The process of realizing of that for me was what drives me to have that nervous collapse. But after after all those minutes, it took like about 30 minutes, all that process of the panic attack I had in my roommate helping me out and all that, I went back to my room. I left my room door open just in case, because when I went to my bed, I started shaking again. Like shaking. Hopefully I put all sheets covering me, and lay it down. I started doing deep respiration again for another 30 minutes. Then I started to watch some videos on my phone. I watched a movie on Netflix, and then I started to have like my body temperature back to normal. I went to the bathroom, I pee, I went to bed, I play a few games in my phone again, and then I fall asleep. And the miracle is that I was able to sleep that night. I slept like about 4 hours, I think, because I fell asleep around 2-3 a.m. dealing with all that crisis. And the following days, the next day, I had this reaction as a response. I closed myself to everything. I went to my own box. I deleted my profile from all dating apps. I stopped to seeing everybody. I just went into my box. I did a video before going in my Instagram and my TikTok talking about being ghosted, like a short video about what reaction I had. And then after that, I simply closed everything. But I didn't completely move on about that person. In fact, 5 days after, I found a way to call him from a phone number that is at his same city, because I was like hoping, it was like a stupid, but there is no but. It was stupid. It was, I guess my self-esteem went so down that I needed to hear from him. Why did he do that? Why? But no. When he answered the phone, he said, "Who is this? Who are you?" Yes, I am that person, but who are you? And he hanged me off. So, that was it. That was the end. So after that, I called, during that process, I had a talk with a friend, with a good friend that lives in Ottawa. And she gave me some advices, and we were talking about 2 hours over the phone about my situation. I even dare to question my sexual orientation. I was I dare I was yeah, I did that because I was so disillusionated from men, from dating men, that why they are like that, why. And I used to be with women too, and I was telling that to her. And well, she first of all, my friend, she is transgender and she is lesbian, so she had experience with women, and well, she likes women, and I used to like women and men. Now I like men only. And the question was like, why in my life when I was with women, I was never treated the way I've been treated with men. I was like talking about that with her in my low self-esteem issues and my insecurities about my masculinity, about my appealing or my beauty or my sexual attraction, about everything. And the thing is that at the end I agree with her about that I should not open myself so quickly, especially with someone that is miles away from me in the first place. Why did I believe that a relationship with someone that is miles away, that is far, is going to work? Yeah, that is the main question. And the other side is that, yeah, but as he is Cuban as me, he know me, I know his story, we have the same culture, we know how we Cubans love, that we are more emotional, more passionate, yada yada yada. Guess what? No, that is not true. Humans, no matter from where they came from, and in all these years that I've been dating and being heartbroken, is about the person. It's not about their culture or about their origin. It's about the person. And my conclusion was, and my friend too, that I did not make the right choice. So the choice I did was not the right one. So how do I say? I had not been lucky enough to find the person who will match me as a human being. Therefore, I will not be in that situation again. Of course, I hope not be in that situation again, despite that, who rules the heart? But we need to be smart. I need to be more smart and protect myself. Because if I don't protect myself, who is going to? And love myself more. And be more careful about who I let into my heart. But there is a thing. No, there is no but. And there is a thing. This last week, at the end of January, I said to myself, you know what? Nobody deserves my energy, my pain, and my suffering. I have a lot of problems of myself already. I am dealing with a lot of issues with my mental health and physical health issues, to being add more troubles to myself. So he can go whatever. He's lost. It didn't work. Oh well, was my mistake. I did the wrong choice. He was not the one. There is a lot of good-looking, handsome, with good heart guys out there that are going to be found, and that I will be found. So I said to myself, you know what? I'm back to business. I registered myself in all the dating apps again. I started to interact with people, and I went out. I went outside of the box where I put myself. No. But I am more careful about who I let in. Yeah. And I'm still moving on. I'm still in pain because I'm a human being, but it's a process of moving on. And I think what I did today, like telling my story about why silence and how much damage silence in a relationship hurts. Yeah, this is my experience. This is how badly I was hurt by being ghosted, and doing the wrong choice in selecting the wrong person. So this is it. This is my story, and I think I needed to talk about this episode, about that chapter in my life, and in a way, I think it helped me to close, to turn the page, and to move on, and to a next point of my life. Thank you for listening, and I will continue posting other chapters of my life in my podcast. Feel free to reach me on my social networks and here. Thank you for listening. I don't know if this is going to be posted here and this other app, because I'm all this I said it's going to be posted here in my channel on YouTube. Thank you again. Please be kind to one another. Don't do that to people. It's not healthy. Don't avoid problems. Talk to people. Think that how much damage you can do to others and to yourself, because as we said, karma, what you do, it will go back to you eventually. Take care of yourself. Have a good night. Have a good day. Have a good evening.
That you might have had